Alright friends, welcome back. So today we are doing one of, if not Sabaton's most famous songs. Now, a lot of you probably know of the song through memes. A lot of times when people hear the song, they think of the Crusades. But it actually doesn't take place during the Crusades. Actually, it takes place a few hundred years after the Crusades. The song The Last Stand actually takes place in 1527, and not exactly in the Holy Lands. It takes place in Rome. Now, before I continue and explain, thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoy the content. You know, like I say, I do a reaction video every Sunday, and I do one every Wednesday. So we're going to keep that trend going as long as we can. But if you are returning to the channel, please subscribe. We greatly appreciate the subscriptions, the growing of our community. Please like, share, and comment if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, comment too. It's fine. I'm not offended. But today we're going to be talking about The Last Stand from Sabaton. Now, The Last Stand is about the sack of Rome in 1527. But the preceding events before that is what really helps understand the situation. So what had happened was the Habsburgs, who were ruling Austria, which in turn were ruling the Holy Roman Empire, and I believe even Spain at this point. They wanted they held the title of Holy Roman Emperor. Now, the Pope at the time, I believe Clement IV, let me just double check that actually real quick to make sure I got it right. Clement VII, actually. He saw a threat from them as trying to dominate the Roman Catholic Church as well as the Catholic world, as the king of the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, Charles V, was dominating over Europe. So he went into alliance with France, the Kingdom of France, ruled by King Francis I. A lot of you might remember him from the Tudors. He's the one that signs the agreement with Henry VIII. But this alliance, I believe the Alliance of Cognac is what it became known as, was this alliance between the Italian states led by the Papal State, which is what Rome was. The Catholic Church did rule its own government for some time until the Italian unification, and the Kingdom of France. Now, a war would end up being fought about this, and France would actually be defeated by the forces of the Holy Roman Empire. And the issue is, now this is where we get into why the sack of Rome happened. In 1527, they defeated the French army in northern Italy, but they did not have the funds to pay that army. So what ended up happening was about, let me get the numbers correct, it's looking about 20,000 mutineers marched on Rome. And defending Rome was 5,000 militiamen and only 500 Swiss Guard. Now, Swiss Guard often become a subject of note in these videos, especially since I did my series on the French Revolution, and a famous event in the French Revolution was the attack on the Tuileries, where the Swiss Guard also was massacred. So today, in The Last Stand, we will be seeing the sack of Rome and the last stand of the Swiss Guard. Now, it's very hard to find an actual video about this, because this isn't exactly a subject that a lot of people are into and everything, but everyone, even if you don't know who Sabaton is, you have probably heard this song. This is one of their most famous songs, just because of the rhythm and everything of it. It's one of my favorites. It's always, when I hear it come on, especially myself as a Catholic, something in me, I'm not saying it's because I'm a Catholic I love it, but there's something in me that is like, I just want to go to church for some reason. It's the weirdest thing ever. But today we will be discussing The Last Stand. Okay, so like I said, it's very difficult to actually find a video about this subject that's accurate, because most of the videos actually just show crusading, like medieval. This has not happened during the medieval era. This is 1527. This is way into the Enlightenment era. I guess you could even say the Age of Exploration, possibly. So this is the most accurate video I have found so far. So this is The Last Stand, And even if you, this isn't even from A.S. Cotter. This is from a channel called The Iron Wire. This is one of the first times I've ever used something from them, so bear with me. But even right here, it says Sabaton, The Last Stand, but is a historical accurate music video. So here we go. A cool fact though about the Swiss Guard, again, speaking as a Catholic, Swiss Guard uniforms were actually designed to make fun of them, because they had some very renowned, I believe he was a scientist or an artist, design the uniforms, and they were actually made to look goofy, but the Papal States actually really liked them. They liked how they incorporated a lot of colors and frivolity and things, and they just kept them. So that's always a very interesting fact about the Swiss Guard that a lot of people don't realize, that it was kind of, the uniforms made as a joke, but they, Pope seemed to have liked them. So, again, like I said, what happened was the armies of Charles V were not paid, and they were furious about that. And I believe his name, I forgot his name, but he was called the Duke of Lorraine. He was actually in command of this little mutineer army that marched on Rome. He ended up getting killed, though. So that's when, abandoned by their lords. The mutineers did horrendous things. They did horrifying things. There's that scene, we just saw that clip of the mutineers facing off in a convent with nuns. I think we can put together what was about to happen. This is something very similar to happen to when the French invaded the Italian peninsula during the conquest of Naples. It's one of the most horrifying things, especially in this era, because these are this might be a little bit during the Reformation, but the Holy Roman Empire was a Catholic country. They were a Catholic nation, with the exception of a few of their little petty kingdoms. France itself was a Catholic country. War made these men do evil things that I and others as Catholics could not imagine doing in that situation, because you would think in that time period, oh well, got to be pious, this and that. But the issue was these men had just fought against the French, who they knew were in an alliance with the Pope. So to be honest, in their eyes, they kind of probably viewed it as the church betrayed them, and they wanted their money for their service, and they did horrendous things to Rome. So the Secret Avenue, that's a real thing. There is a tunnel system. I actually think it's a bridge system, but it looks like an aqueduct, I believe, that is connected to St. Peter's Basilica and the Castle Saint Angelo. Castle Saint Angelo is a medieval fortress that was built to protect the Pope. Obviously, Castle Saint Angelo is Castle of the Angels. It's actually where the Illuminatus in Angels and Demons, the movie with Tom Hanks about, and the book from Dan Brown, the Castle Saint Angelo is where the story pretty much intersects. That's where they discover the truth behind everything. That's where, you know, they find where the cardinals were being held and things like that. But yeah, the Castle Saint Angelo. The Castle Saint Angelo is connected to the Vatican through a secret passage. But you know, they keep talking about the guards of the Holy See, the guards of Christianity. Swiss Guard were, to this day, are still the most loyal of soldiers. You know, what it takes to be a Swiss Guard is insane. It's such, and you have to be a practicing Catholic. Now, I am a practicing Catholic. I would not even be considered compared to these men. Live and speak the Bible, and they are pretty much, they're like modern day Templars and Hospitallers. They're pretty much, they are loyal to the Pope, but their final loyalty is to the Church, like God and everything. So, what this is kind of illustrating about the sack of Rome is pretty much what happened when they did successfully get the Pope to the Castle Saint Angelo. They just killed they just did everything else in the city. They assaulted, in many, unfortunately, different ways, the civilians, the men, the women, the children. They slaughtered them. They sacked houses. They burned the papal palaces down. They took whatever they thought they were due because of everything. And the entire time this is happening, Clement VII was just sitting in the chapel praying and hoping for something to happen. Maybe the French would come and help him, maybe something. He was trapped. He didn't know what to do. And I do believe he ended up surrendering to them, but they obviously didn't harm him. He's the Pope, but he, I believe, was brought into exile somewhere, and he was a Pope in exile. I'll leave the link just so you could see all that. But let me see if I get a cool. There we go. Yeah. So the Swiss Guard, they were massacred. They had their job, which was to protect the Pope at all costs. Now, the way the Castle Saint Angelo would work was, I told you there were 500 Swiss Guard in the city, but they keep saying this number 189. 189 decided not to take refuge in the Castle Saint Angelo. They held off in the Vatican, in St. Peter's, protecting the withdrawal of the Pope, because that was their job, to make sure he survived. And they were massacred. I can't reiterate that. Their last stand really was, they held off in a graveyard, I believe it was, That's where the last stand truly was. That's where the one of the entrances to the secret tunnel were, and they faced off with the mutineer army, and they held off as long as they could, but they massacred, and it came down to, I believe, 40 men, maybe something like that, on the causeway, and that's where they finally all did die. That's that clip they kept showing of like them strewn across will look like a battlement. I believe that's supposed to be the causeway where the last of the Swiss Guard that were out there were killed, the 189. And they really, like I said, they at the end, Clement VII, just to end the massacre and slaughter, would capitulate to the mutineers. But unfortunately, this whole alliance of Cognac is what caused all of this, because of the fear of the Holy Roman Empire. And, the Holy Roman Empire would continue until, I believe, 1804. It would, 1804, because that's when Austerlitz was. It would continue until Napoleon Bonaparte would destroy it at the Battle of Austerlitz. So, to think the Holy Roman Empire started under Charlemagne and then didn't end until 1804, that's a very long time. It's many centuries of the Holy Roman Empire. And majority of the time being ruled by the Habsburgs of Austria, ruled over Central Europe and pretty much could impose their will on the Papal States, which ruled Christendom at the time. Of course, then you had the Reformation come in and new religions popped up across, new Christian religions popped up across Europe that didn't adhere to Rome. But at this time, the Swiss Guards still to this day are the guards of the Holy See. All right, quick correction. I said 1804 for the end of the Holy Roman Empire. It was actually 1805. It was after Austerlitz. I always forget that the amount of time that passed between the coronation and Austerlitz. But yeah, the Holy Roman Empire would have fallen in 1805. So, again, just 1500, 16, 17, 1800. That's 4 centuries of Holy Roman Empire hegemony as it is. So, but the Last Stand really illustrates to us the dedication of the Swiss Guard. And in fact, to this day, the oath that this new Swiss Guard are supposed to take is done on May 6th every year. May 6th is the day of the sack of Rome, because of the bravery of the 189 and then the 42 from that 189 who never made it to Castle Saint Angelo, who just defended the Holy See with their all and lost their lives in that fight. Thank you for joining us. As always, I greatly appreciate the support. Please like, share, and comment if you enjoyed what you saw. And if you didn't enjoy what you saw, still comment. I like the interactions. Definitely helps the channel. Also, if you are new to the channel, please hit that red subscribe button. I have new content up weekly. I usually try to get 4 videos up a week, 2 reactions, 2 originals. And thank you again so much for joining us. Please subscribe if you are returning as well. And we will see you in the next one.